We got Chris Keith in the building, man. What's going on, Chris?
What's going on, family?
Yeah, man, not much, man. This is family right here, man. OG Chris is what I would like to call him. You know what I'm saying? Put us on the
Appreciate
all
it.
the hip hop shit.
Back in the day, I was known to be out there.
Well, you know what? I remember we used to debate, the greatest, and a lot of the polls on According to Hip Hop kind of come from some of our conversations that we used to have, where we
Right.
would debate for hours who was better than this person and that person, and then it was like, you know what? Let's put it out there and see what other people think. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right there in the kitchen. We had
Right
debates
there in the
back then.
kitchen. Yeah.
Right in the kitchen, man. It was streamed from one weekend to the next. We
I remember
come
you used
through
to
and
debate me with Kane and everything, and you kind of changed your tune on Kane a little bit. We can get into that in a minute. But, we want to talk De La Soul, man, because De La Soul recently, it's been news recently that De La Soul's catalog, which hasn't been available on streaming platforms, might be available on streaming platforms. They're getting closer to a deal. Reservoir Media has bought out Tommy Boy's catalog, and so Reservoir Media is willing to work out a fair situation for De La Soul so that they can be on streaming platforms. And I know you got all the De La albums. A lot of people ain't really on to De La in a certain generation because their music hasn't been available. So we want to talk about the greatness of De La Soul, man. Like, where you got De La, when we talk about all-time groups?
all-time groups, man. They right up there, man. If not my number one, they're my top three. Easy. Easy.
Who's your top three?
Their longevity.
Who's your top three?
Public Enemy.
Uh-huh.
Public Enemy. They number one.
Me too.
Wu-Tang. Gotta have Wu-Tang in it. I mean, and I would say De La.
I think, if we talk about catalog, album for album, we lost Chris. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, that was me. I think that was me. Anyway, if we talking about catalog, album for album, I love Wu-Tang, but it's like you kind of got to put Wu-Tang in a different scenario because I think we judge Wu-Tang a lot by their solo works. But if we talk about group albums,
True that.
like we talk about group albums, man, De La's tough to beat. 3 Feet High and Rising, De La Soul is Dead, Balloon Mind State, Stakes is High. I mean, them four right there can go up against anybody.
And not only that, you can listen to them from start to finish.
Yeah. Their music is very relevant. It doesn't. It's timeless. And I think
like
that.
you said, a lot of generation got shortchanged because they weren't offered by streaming. So I think by them getting their streaming deal up, that's gonna, you know what I mean? It's gonna open up a lot of eyes.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be.
It really worked.
It's gonna be brand new for a lot of people because when I go back and even listen, because I'm a big fan of Prince Paul too, who produced the first 3 albums. I think Prince Paul is one of the more underappreciated producers in hip hop. I think their influence on Tribe's original sound was, clear. It was clear that Q-Tip's production style on the first album was very Prince Paul influenced. Before they even changed it up.
De La is no Tribe to me. De La, a lot of those groups came from De La. Tribe, Outkast, a lot of them.
Oh,
because
yeah.
they made it cool to be different. They were themselves.
I think Outkast gets compared to Tribe a lot, because it's 2 guys rhyming. But I think Outkast is probably more influenced sonically, like how they switched up album to album. I think they're more influenced by De La than they are Tribe. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hear De La more in their shit from the skits to, because what? Were there any skits before De La?
I don't think so. I think they were the first group to put the skits in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was entertaining. It was funny. It was witty. It went along with the album. Them dudes was just on their own vibe.
Were they the first people to do remixes too?
They might be. I'd have to check that, but they might be the first group to remix some shit.
Because I'm thinking like the Buddy remix, right? When they threw, Native Tongue on it. Were there any remixes before that where like niggas ganged up on the record?
I don't think so.
I think they might have invented the remix. I mean, remixes before that probably was like, people switching up a beat on something or, another producer doing something. But as far as like having the whole crew jump on the same song that was different from the one on the album, I'm trying to think. I mean, let us know in the chat too if, somebody else created the remix. But, I mean, what would you say is like your top three if you had to rank their albums? Because I know you got all De La's albums. Like, if you had to rank their albums, like, how would you rank it from top to bottom?
I would have to go Stakes is High, man. I'm a big fan of that album. Mind Blown State, and 3 Feet High and Rising. I used to listen to albums. I mean, back then it was a tape, but I used to listen to 3 Feet High and Rising like religiously. Because it was like nothing you had ever heard before. Their influence on the game, they really don't get as much props as they should. Like, you see a lot of these groups out here, and think about it like this. Imagine De La Soul doing a versus. Who would that?
No, that's for real. And even the albums like Grind Date and shit were dope.
Oh, yeah, that Grind Date was amazing.
Yeah, Grind Date was amazing, too. We got a couple of people in the chat. Tory Boyd says A Tribe Called Quest #1. He got Outkast #2. He got Wu-Tang #3. De La at 4 and PE at 5. Johnny Gray said Prince Paul had a CD that was slept on. The Prince Among Thieves. Yeah, that Prince Among Thieves was fire.
Yeah, it was.
I like De La Soul Is Dead. I mean, I see you didn't mention that.
De La Soul Dead.
That's my favorite one from them.
They got so much you forget about it. All of those were quality albums.
Yeah.
All of them.
I mean, because he had Biddies in the BK Lounge on that, you know what I'm saying? The skit that came with that. I loved Pass the Plug.
Please, like, yeah. Pass the Plug was crazy.
Ring Ring was my shit, too.
They're underrated on the rap level, too, man, as far as lyrically.
I think Posdnuos, yeah. Posdnuos is underrated because of that. Like, I know you talked about 3000 not having any solo stuff. I wish I could have heard some Posdnuos solo stuff, like where he held down 3 verses. But what's the song where they used the Funkadelic sample? I'm tripping right now. I love this record too. Santa Claus, Mini. I saw. You know what I'm talking about? What it was about? Yeah, that one.
That it?
Yeah, Millie pulled a pistol on Santa. Sorry, Ty Walton.
Yeah,
Appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, he held down that record for the most part, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you could hear what Posdnuos could do solo-wise. And I think, personally, and you know me, I'm a Q-Tip fan. I think, personally, Posdnuos might have been the nicest person in Native Tongue. Bar for bar.
I see that. Yeah, bar for bar.
Bar for bar.
Again, those cats they were on another level as far as their lyrics. They made you think. You know what I'm saying? They just wasn't out there just kicking words. Them dudes was putting their thoughts together well. And a lot of that stuff, you had to sit down and think about it. Like, wow, what did he mean by that? Like, damn. Then when you catch it, you're like, oh, yeah, that dude was nice with it. Pos was, you underrated. Dub wasn't no slouch either.
Yeah. No, Dub was dope, too. Well. You know, and you brought up a really good point, man.
The DJ goes, Mace was crazy as a DJ. Mace, his musical IQ is off the charts.
Yeah. You know, you brought up a good point, though, man. When they actually have their catalogs available, Versus should do that for the culture, man. We need to see De La Soul in a Versus so people can actually sit there and acknowledge their catalog. Because you're right. Who really would want it with De La Soul in the Versus going 20 deep? Because they got joints.
They got joints.
They got joints.
Not only that, they got joints with other people like you wouldn't think of. Like my son listened to a lot of the Gorillas.
Right.
De La Soul's had to be on them.
Yeah, they could obviously. Yeah, they could throw that shit on there too. I mean, did you see the Trina and Eve versus? By the way, speaking of versus,
I watched it. You know, I mean, I watched it. You know, I don't want to be negative.
No. I mean,
a couple of them songs, I was like, okay, I remember that. You know, I remember that. But
yeah,
you know,
a lot of them songs didn't have a lot of legs.
It was cool. It was cool.
I mean, this is what I will say, man. I mean, you know, and I've always held Eve's career really high, and I thought that it was a mismatch, honestly, when they first rolled it out. But when it actually happened, I'm like, well, shit, Trina's shit seems to resonate a little bit more. It feels like
Yeah.
Eve's catalog didn't really age that well, to be perfectly honest. You know, and I know Eve's a superstar and Eve got bars, she can rap, but when you think about it, I mean, do people still play Eve stuff like that? I think the biggest moments of the night was when they both played their Missy collaborations. And that's
Yeah.
another person who, you know,
Yeah, her catalog. I agree. It didn't really age as well as we thought it would. Because back in the day, Eve was held in high regard as
she
far as
was.
lyrics. People loved Eve,
Yeah.
and she held it down. We're the only female in
Mm-hmm.
that crew. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, she was balanced with it too. It was like you got the Locks here, you got DMX here, and she didn't seem like the odd person out. You know what I'm saying? She was nice. She blended right in perfectly. I would have liked to have seen her in the Brat. Really, I think that would have been a better look for both of them.
I think so too.
Yeah.
People sleep on the Brat. You know, I like the Brat.
I don't know why do you think the Brat's catalog kind of goes understated? Because I mean, I know we talking about underrated catalogs right now, especially speaking about De La Soul. Like, do you think her catalog just didn't age well, or what do you think it is?
I don't think it aged well at all, man. But when you sit back and then you hear one of them songs, you're like, oh man, because on Fructified, I mean, you know, she killed it.
I think the biggest.
That was one of her commercial hits.
I think the thing with the. Yeah, it was huge. I think the thing with the Brat though, looking back on it, I think that they were kind of piggybacking off of what Snoop was doing, and you could only do that one time. And so, like, when she came with the next album, they had to switch the whole shit up. And it threw her off. Like, because she didn't. Does the Brat ever really have a sound?
No, she didn't. I mean, you just heard she had that distinct voice.
Yeah.
Right? As soon as you heard it, you knew who it was. JD laced the beats. The beats were crazy. I don't know why the Brat album doesn't get more rotation. It's crazy. She's another one. She may need her flowers too. She did her thing.
Todd Walton.
She put the A on the map a little something. She held it down for Atlanta.
But she was from Chicago though, and that was the thing. Like, we didn't. It was a lot that we didn't know. I think she was kind of undefined. Todd Walton brings up a good point. He says that she always rapped like what was hot at the time. Yeah, like when it was time to rap fast. You know what I'm saying? She did that. You can say what you want about Kim. Kim had an identity. And I think that's why her legacy is so strong. She had an identity. And I think that's really what the Brat kind of lost. Because even when she did the joint with Tyrese, it was like, okay, now the Brat's trying to be sexy. It was like every album, it was trying a different approach. And Funkified hit so hard.
Jermaine Dupri thing.
It was.
Jermaine was kind of like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
No disrespect to Jermaine, because he's dope, but he kind of like latched on to what was hot. You know, at the time, and that was kind of his MO. You know?
I mean, especially rap-wise, you know what I'm saying? Because Chris Cross ain't nothing but like a miniature Naughty by Nature. Let's be real.
Right.
You know, it is what it is. Yeah, and Bow Wow was kind of Bow Wow might be the most original act he had.
Right.
He actually
for the most part. And he was kind of like, they trying to make him like a Snoop, I guess. I don't know what. Yeah, I guess he did have his own lane if you think about it.
Yeah, and see, Bow Wow was kind of Bow Wow was piggybacking off of the work that JD did with Criss Cross.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah.
The same feel.
You remember that? I don't know if you remember that artist that So Def had. His name was like the ROC, and he rapped just like Jay.
I don't think I remember.
Yeah, he did like a couple of verses here and there. I think he was on the Where the Party At remix or whatever. But yeah, you're right. That was kind of his whole MO, and I think that the Brat suffered for that. Because she never really had a sound.
Think about it, she should get more shout outs. I mean, the Brat and Eve to me was more of a natural. To me, it would have been a better battle. And I'm not disrespecting Trina because she do her thing. She hold it down for Miami. But when they said Eve and Trina, I was like, well, Eve is gonna slaughter her. It wasn't a slaughter. And
it wasn't. I mean, from everything I'm hearing, and I watched it, and everything I saw, Trina won. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was because Trina was actually there.
I never heard before, and I was like, yo, that was all right. Like, okay, I see you. Yeah.
See, Trina got those underground bangers.
And she had 20.
Trina got those underground bangers though. Like, she got those club songs, those B-sides that, people who are hardcore fans know. I don't think Eve got those. Eve got the commercial hits, but she don't got like those cult classics. She got
stuff like that.
Yeah, she got that Posse song that what was that? They did that Scenario 2000 or whatever that was on her album where it had the whole Rough Riders on there, and they used that beat that was on that Jigga song at the beginning. You know what I'm talking about? That dun 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 dun. Yeah. So maybe that's one that wasn't, but
that was a hard record too.
That was a hard record.
But
that had the whole crew on it. I mean, I think Eve's dope, man. I mean, as a commercial artist and all that, but I think Trina might have gotten it because I think what we really learned from Versus is the fact that your B-sides are worth more than your hits.
Yeah.
For real.
For real.
I mean, if we talking rap, now maybe it might be different for the R&B people, the producers or whatever, but if we talking rap shit, your B-sides are stronger than your radio shit.
Because quiet as it's kept. And I know I might catch flack for this. I think Snoop got X.
Of course he did. I don't even think that's debatable. I mean, again, I don't want to be no hypocrite. We did a show on it after it happened while both of them were still alive. And yeah, that was the consensus, man. And it was no disrespect to X. It's just the fact that Snoop's catalog, I'll say this. I think Snoop would have beat anybody in rap that night. Those records that Snoop got were tough to contend with. Because when X played Slippin', I think that was the defining moment. Slippin's one of X's best records. And then this nigga Snoop came with Murder Was the Case, and Murder Was the Case dwarfed that shit. Like, just sonic, the way that shit came in, it was like, nah.
You know what it was? I think with Snoop, I think we, like you said, we got lost in his commercial hits. We forgot about the gritty Snoop.
Mm-hmm.
And Snoop got some gritty records. Before he was Uncle Snoop, it was that little young dude from the Dog Pound.
And that was the cool thing about him too. Like, he could have played a whole bunch of shit, but he was playing songs like G's and Hustlers. He played the Shiznick. He played shit that didn't make the radio. He understands his catalog. You know what I mean? And those shits hold way more weight. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I said, and people knew those records.
That's the thing about Snoop's verses too.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when you heard it, you was like, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. You find and that's why I feel like Doggy Style is one of the strongest hip hop albums ever, man, because you find yourself knowing every single word of the shit without even remembering that you knew this shit. Like, you don't even have to think about it. You know these Snoop songs. Everybody does.
Yeah.
I mean, I put Doggy Style high.
It's like Doggy Style is like an Illmatic or a Great Adventures of Slick Rick. It's just one of the albums that's forever going to be cemented in time as a classic, regardless of how you feel about his older work, whatever. But Doggy Style was that shit banged, man.
I mean, I play Doggy Style now.
It played everywhere.
I play Doggy Style now. That shit still sounds new. You know what I'm saying? It's like it aged very well. And I think that really didn't help Funkdefy age well is the fact that if you listen to it now, it sounds, and when I say this respectfully, it sounds like a knockoff version of some of the stuff that they were doing. And I mean, I didn't look at it like that back when it came out, but now I see the Funkdefy video, I'm like, is this Doggy Dogg World?
Yeah.
And that doesn't help you in the long run.
Snoop style. He took a bite.
Yeah.
JD, he does that.
Yeah, I mean, that ain't on the brat. I mean, she was just jumping on the records, doing her thing. And there's no longevity in not being original. And I think that's probably what got him. I mean, we talking about De La. I mean, you see how that worked with, what's it called? You know the group. Set Adrift on Memory Bliss.
PM Dawn.
PM Dawn, yeah. But that was just blatant.
They were a knockoff.
Yeah.
They were a knockoff. They were trying to ride the De La Soul wave. Now the question was he being himself or was he trying to be weird? I don't know.
It doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? Because when you come in, and you sound just like somebody else. I mean, I think people are a lot more lenient on that shit now. Like a lot of the
Now,
guys that
yeah.
come out there and be a version of another person,
Yeah.
but I
Now,
think,
now I think it's
yeah.
about originality. It's more about what sells and what's gonna get played on the radio. Bottom line,
But you
you
know
know,
what?
the shifted.
I'm gonna keep it 100 though. When Designer came through and sounded just like Future and did that Panda song or whatever, that didn't help him.
Yeah.
That didn't
No.
help him. Yeah,
Where is he now?
exactly.
You know, no disrespect to the designer, but I mean,
I mean,
he
it's
ain't
just
around.
it's what it is. Like, there's no longevity in original. I mean, in not being original. You know, I think that people always make comparisons when a person comes out to another person, but I mean, biting is biting. Like I remember when Sean came out, niggas thought he sounded like Big. You go back and listen to that. I don't even see how we made that comparison now. Like he didn't really sound like Big,
Nah,
but Gorilla
he
Black did. but
he
Gorilla,
did. He sounded like Big. He kind of looked like Big.
yeah,
He made that one little record,
yeah,
and that was that.
yeah. He hit, and he would even say words that sounded like Big. He would like put the potato on the barrel. You know what I mean? It's like,
Hey, yeah.
come on, man. And same thing with
Trying to catch the ride away.
I never liked Action Bronson for that too, man. Like, I mean, respectfully, Action Bronson made some pretty dope music. Like, if you listen to it, it is what it is. But me as a Ghostface fan, I just couldn't get into it, you know, because he just sounded too much like Ghostface to me. And it could have been natural. Who knows? But just as a
Right.
fan,
Well,
it's
he
hard
said-
for me to
he said-
take
he
in.
doesn't think he sounds like him, but it's like, come on, fam. Yeah, you do. Give me a
He
break.
he would even say little ad libs that sounded like Ghost to me, where he'd be like, "It's me." Like I couldn't do it, man.
Nah. And like you said, he did make some pretty hot records.
Yeah.
So I could listen to some Action Bronson, but it's like I'm listening to Ghost because I'm a Ghost fan. It's the only reason I actually give him a listen.
It'll make me wanna, you know, like how you listen to a song sometimes that might be a remake of another song or a sample of another song. That make you want to go back and listen to the original. At least that's how I am.
Right.
So if I hear somebody that sounds like somebody, I'm gonna cut you off and I'm gonna go listen to the original. That's just how it
So
is.
listen to Shay Ghost. That's what you want to hear anyway.
Right. I'm gonna go put on Supreme Clientele. You know what I'm saying? And I mean,
Phenomenal album.
yeah, phenomenal album. One of my favorites. But you know,
Yeah.
I think Doggy Style's up there, man. I know I was gonna talk on one of the shows about kind of making the case for Doggy Style to be like the greatest commercial hip hop album ever, possibly the greatest hip hop album ever. It depends on what your criteria are. If you're talking about sales, he got that. You're talking about longevity, he got that. Talking about B-sides, he got that. You're talking about hits, he got that. Like, it's tough to match that album up with anything, really, if you want to factor in all those things.
Yeah.
It's not the most lyrical album ever, but that's the only thing that it might be lacking. Substance and lyricism.
Snoop had it, man. He had it. You know, whether or not back then, you know, everybody was set tripping. It was East Coast, West Coast, whatever. But you couldn't deny
Yeah.
the music that they was making was dope. You can say what you want. You can make fun of their clothes or how their slang, whatever. But they was making dope music, man. Period. And
I
that
mean-
is what it is.
Were you more of a Chronic or a Doggy Style person, like between the two? Like,
Woo, that's tough. I can't pick. That's hard. I love the Chronic. You talk about heavy rotation
yeah.
from start to finish, man. It was bangers.
I think the one thing that the Chronic got over Doggy Style is the substance. You know what I'm saying? They talked about the LA riots and shit like that, and I don't think there's a little ghetto boy on Doggy Style, but shit. I mean, he got Murder Was the Case on there, so I don't know. It could go either way. But
Those
yeah,
albums, man. Those albums was a whole feeling back then. I mean, you know, you again, it was niggas was set tripping, of course, but Dre was killing it, man. Dre and Snoop and them, regardless of how you felt about whatever coast, they made hot music.
yeah,
And when you go back and you listen to it now, you can really appreciate it more. At least I know I do.
yeah.
You know, a lot of this stuff that I listen to now is like, wow, this is crazy.
Well, I
These
mean,
dudes had something.
I mean, making albums, it was a point. People made it a point to make full albums. You don't really have to make full albums now. You just, give people a few hot songs because at the end of the day, I know we talking about streaming. or whatever, but just the whole mentality of streaming, people just want to kind of put together their own playlist anyway. So artists is like, you know what? Let me give them a few hot songs that they could just throw in a playlist because people ain't trying to sit there and listen to a whole album from certain artists anyway, especially newer artists.
No.
I mean,
and not only that, it used to be a thing. On Fridays I would hop the train, go up to Lenox, go to the record store to buy albums. I would just comb the CD area, trying to see what was out, what was different, what was new. There used to be a big CD store up there on Peachtree over there near I want to say where Justin's used to be, and it was nothing but CDs. I would go in there and just comb it and just get obscure stuff. But now I don't think it's like that. You know what I mean? That feel is gone.
Let me ask you this too, like, what albums? Because a lot of people don't even know what it's like to even go buy an album and go purchase it and put it in for the first time. What album did you buy that you were just surprised by in a good way, and what album did you buy you was like, why did I buy this shit? I mean, it sticks out in your memory.
Oh, let me see. It's probably, you know what I bought? I was like, why did I buy this shit? It was Crips and Bloods Banging on Wax. As soon as you said it, I popped in my head. And I remember like, yo, because I would pick up anything. Cause I like music. Come on, let me give it a listen. Because you can find a gem anywhere, right?
Right.
And I bought it. I was like, yo, man, these dudes need to stick to the streets. This is horrible. I get it. I want some positive, but this music is bad. Banging on Wax. Crips and Bloods. I remember that.
I remember seeing them shits in the store. I remember seeing those in the store when I was a kid. Yeah.
On Wax. That was the name of it. Horrible.
Well, what about a good surprise?
Horrible. That would be Razzcast, Solo on Ice.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember why I picked it up, but once I did, I was like, whoa, this is dude, man, because he wasn't rapping like West Coast artists.
You know what?
The West Coast guy. Like,
that was Tash for me. Yeah, same thing. West Coast guy. I picked up Tash on a whim, and I was like, because I think he had Rap Life, the song with same album. I mean, same name as the single. But anyway, it was the single with Raekwon, because Raekwon was everywhere at that point. He was doing features with all kind of folks. But yeah, I saw the appearances on there, and yeah, I like that Tash album, man. That was. Because that came out around the time that Chronic 2001 came out, and I think Drake kind of just dwarfed everybody on the West Coast at that point when he dropped that shit. So a lot of people slept on that album. But yeah, Soul on Ice was crazy.
Soul on Ice was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Miami Life? Oh, man.
I love Miami Life. What was it? What was that song that he had where he was talking about mankind? I'm tripping right now. Just giving a whole history lesson.
Basically, a history lesson.
Yeah,
history lesson.
Was it Interview with the Vampire? Is that what it was? Something like that.
No, another name. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It basically broke down where certain people came from, and it was crazy.
Yeah,
like,
it was crazy.
Some other shit. And it was like, wow, this is right here.
Nobody was doing that.
Razzcast just stay consistently dope, over the years.
Right. He's another guy that's slept on.
Stuff, but he held down.
I mean, lyrically, on the West Coast, I would say it's not too many people that's fucking with him lyrically on the West Coast. One of LA's best lyricists, like just pure lyricists. It's hard to top Razzcast. But yeah, as far as me picking up something that I wish I would have put back, I think it was that Rough Riders 2. It was like the volume 2. I think it was. I bought that shit, man, and I was like, because I bought it off the strength of Volume 1. And see, for whatever reason, I didn't have Volume 1. So I was like, instead of getting Volume 1, which was old at that time, or older, I was like, man, let me get on this new shit. The first one was crazy. Yeah, that was disappointing, man. I was like, man, I only like 2 or 3 songs on this shit.
Their name sold that album, man.
Yeah.
They were a name recognition at that point. They were, they wouldn't give you no quality music. They were just selling it because it was double off.
Another album before we get out of here. I know people are going to be mad about this, but I remember buying the Marshall Mathers LP the first day. Just on all the hype. He was everywhere. He was on TV. And I put that shit in and heard songs like I'ma Kill You, The production wasn't there for me, and I mean, I heard that crazy song Kim, where he was talking about killing his baby mom, putting it in the trunk. I just couldn't get into the shit, man. I threw it on the
No,
highway,
man.
man.
I've never been a fan of his music. I've never bought any of it. It just don't sonically. It's not for me. You know.
Yeah.
People like to talk about his lyrical this and that, and I guess, but it ain't for me. But I've been fighting this Eminem battle since day one. My funny Eminem story is I had a partner. He just came home. He was locked away for a minute in the barbershop. And he was playing "Hi, My Name Is." He looked at me. He said, "Yo, son." He said, "Yo, this commercial is mad long." I said, "Man, ain't no commercial. That's Slim Shady." He was like, "Who the fuck is Slim Shady?" He didn't know who he was. He thought it was a commercial. He said, "This commercial is mad long."
The commercial is very long. Very long. 20 years long. 20 plus years long.
The Slim Shady debate, to me, I mean, it just come down to, man, if you like him, man, you like him. But don't sit here and tell me that he's better than anybody in my top 10. Or if he's not in my top 10, my top 10 is not legit. That just doesn't make sense.
Right.
I've been around since Spoonie G, man. I've been around since the 70s with rap. And I heard so many people that's just better than him, to me.
Yeah.
I mean, don't do it for me.
I think the proof's in the pudding, though. When you talk about, I mean, if you want to take it all the way back, right? DJing is the cornerstone of hip hop. It's like it makes the whole hip hop universe go around. Do you think there are? I mean, the proof's in the pudding there too. Hip hop DJs ain't spinning Eminem shit like that. And even if you want to take it to the original, like if you take it to the Park Jams, Cool Herc, whatever, like what Eminem records would you hear at the Park Jams? Now, any of the great MCs, you could pick out records like from whatever era. Even if they didn't intentionally make records that a DJ would spin, you would hear Mind Playing Tricks on Me spun at a Park Jam.
Right.
And that wasn't even made for that. You would hear Trouble T. Roy in a Park Jam, and that wasn't even made to be no banger or nothing like that. I mean, you got to have a level of soul. I'm sorry, you just do. And the fact that he hasn't even attempted to do that, I think that's a knock on his resume. I mean, how you from Detroit and ain't never jumped on a Dilla track? Ever.
And I've been all around the world, all around the country, whatever. I've been countless clubs, man. I have never yet to be in a club. I've never heard an Eminem song get played. Now, that might not be some criteria for somebody, but where do they play his music at other than Shade 45? Like, where is this music getting spin?
And what songs are we talking about? Nature of the Threat is that Razzcast song we were talking about, by the way.
Nature of the Threat.
Yeah. That's the Razzcast song we talking about. But yeah, I mean, I went back and listened to the not Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, just to see if I was tripping back in the day. And I mean, still not a lot of songs that I really liked on there. Like Stan was a good song, but it got played so much. It's one of those that kind of, you kind of skip over songs that you've heard a million times, when you listen to an album. So Stan was good. I can't say Stan's a bad song. The Way I Am, it was cool. You know what I'm saying? But again, the whole Rakim thing, whatever, I am, whatever you say I am, if I wasn't, that's, but I don't know.
That's how I feel about his career. Like, all right. I mean, you say so, but this ain't for me.
Yeah.
And I know the people in the chat probably, they go crazy because they love him. But, he's for everybody, man,
Ty Walton says that.
Mount Rushmore and all of that in rap. And how he get a spot? I don't get it. It's just default. Is it affirmative action? Like, why? I don't get it.
Ty Walton says you would have to play a feature at a Park Jam. Okay, what Eminem feature are we talking? I guess. I mean, see, even if you want to go that whole.
With Jay? One with Jay? Renegade?
No, you're not playing Renegade at a Park Jam. Maybe they talking about Lean Back. He did say Renegade. I don't think you play Renegade at a Park Jam. I don't know.
I mean, that's the first thing came to mind, just for me, because Me and I can hear Stan there. Like, who want to sit there and listen to Stan?
Another person said Renegade.
What's the plug? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess I was thinking more so the lean back feature or like Forever and stuff like that. But even that is a stretch, man. I don't know. He changes the mood. Like even on the Conway song, when he jumped on Conway's record, it's like they changed the whole beat. It's like the whole mood changes when he gets on the record. It's like you got to change up the beat so he can catch it. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? But
Look, man, I can name 20 people that to me it's just better.
I give him.
I don't.
You know the song that he was on. Well, he was on 2 songs on the Chronic 2001. But what's the difference? Maybe that was and even on there he kind of.
That was decent. That was a decent record.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
But see, even when he jumped on there, he told him to stop the beat a minute. Dre, it was all off kilter. Like, I mean, not a bad verse, but again, he's not just catching it like Exhibit was doing. I don't know. It's different. But yeah, what we're gonna do is when De La Soul's stuff, their whole catalog is available on stream, we'll definitely jump on here again and just kind of go through it. But yeah, I mean, you can still get their stuff or listen to their stuff on YouTube if you're of a generation where you're not aware of De La Soul's catalog. Like, what would you say people need to listen to first? Would you say Stakes is High?
I think take it to the beginning, man.
Yeah.
You'll really appreciate them. 3 Feet High and Rising, because it was just such a creative album, and it didn't sound like anything or anybody in that point in time.
And you could just see the growth too if you go album for album.
Yep.
Yeah.
Album. Yeah, I would listen to it in order.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the best way, and you're not gonna. There's no disappointments there. I mean, you're gonna find something you like. It's gonna be hard to find stuff you don't like. To me,
right.
De La Soul is just that group. They're that group, man. Them brothers are talented. No scandals. They never broke up. No arguments. You know what I'm saying? And they just kept the music consistent. What was the joint? One of my favorite joints was the one they did with Redman and Rod Digger. Oh, where they
Oh yeah, the ooh yeah.
Ooh, that.
Shout out to Rod Digger too, man. I love Rod Digger.
Ooh, was bananas.
Yeah. They had hits, man. And, I mean, they had hits. They had album records. They made concept albums. And even when they switched up and stopped working with, Prince Paul, they were able to continue to make quality stuff. That really doesn't happen either. Usually when people switch it up.
ACL was dope.
Yeah. And their work with Dilla was dope. I mean, De La Soul's dope. And I'm looking forward to their catalog being available on streaming platforms because I want to just go straight to De La Soul is Dead, where I don't have to go to, my CD collection, go to SoundCloud, go to YouTube, But, all right, well, yeah, man, we need to jump on here and talk some more about, have conversations like this a little bit more.
I'm here for it. I don't know all of the analytics. That ain't my lane. But I could definitely give you a different perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, this is about the field. Yeah, this is about the field.
Day one.
Well, next time we need to do like some stories. We need to do some hip hop stories and some of the places you've been.
I met De La before.
Go ahead and tell that story real quick.
Nah, I met him. There used to be a club downtown called the Shark Bar.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in there with my girlfriend and that was my wife, but I was in there and I was, people like straight on some fanboy shit. I wanted to be, but I'm not the type of person to walk up and talk to nobody. And she was like, "I'm gonna go get the autograph," and she walked over and got the autograph.
I'm sure that was cool.
It was cool. Like
yeah,
that.
Yeah. They had a show or whatever. You seen them live?
I seen them live at the Masquerade before.
Okay.
And if anybody's been to Masquerade, that's a weirdo club.
Yeah.
That's strange in there. But I saw De La Soul perform there before. Yep.
Yeah, I saw Childish Gambino there.
I saw De La Soul before.
Yeah.
At the Masquerade.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a weirdo spot, man. You walk in there, you got some different art on the walls that make you feel like, what am I doing here? De La Soul, I saw them perform there. I saw Tribe perform at what's that club in Buckhead? It's the Roxy. It's called the Roxy.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that was the Roxy. That venue, yeah.
Yeah, I saw them perform right there. Yep, I saw Tribe perform in high school. That was one of my first concerts. I saw Tribe and Big Daddy Kane in high school. I was in like 10th grade.
What project was out then? Was that Beats Rhymes of Life Tribe, or was that Midnight Marauders Tribe?
At that point, I think that was Beats Life.
Yeah.
That one, because that was like, if I was in 10th grade, that was like 1990. You know, you know what I'm saying? It was Kane and listen, they came to our high school. They did a performance out on the field, on the football field.
Well, shit, if that was 90, then that was the first one, right? That was People's Instinctive. Yeah, they must have been opening up.
That was Benita Apple. Yeah, that was that one. Yeah, that was the 90s.
That's when they was dressing all crazy.
Yeah. But everybody was. We all look goofy. Look at those pictures now. You're like, that wasn't a good look.
Yeah, man, we need to further these conversations, man. You know what I'm saying, and give flowers to people who who put in the work. You know what I mean? And
I still definitely put the work in.
Yeah.
And for people that aren't familiar with their catalog, man, get familiar. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
music, and you like rhymes, and yeah, they're gonna give you all of that.
Originality, rhymes, concept albums. You know what I'm saying? Jams, all that.
Creative.
Yep. Shout out to De La Soul. Anybody who's an Outkast fan, and I ain't talking about, just this fly by night, you heard a couple Andre 3000 verses. If you're a real Outkast fan and love their albums, album for album and track for track and skits and all that, you'll love De La. Bottom line, there's no way not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.